Time to stand, and the hour is at hand. Oh, just a man. I hope I'm not a dreamer. Don't want no more change in my life. I'm just a man.
Yo, good morning, everybody. This guy's awesome, right? This is I discovered him in Washington Square Park, right?
Just a man, broken at his side.
Listen to the voice, man.
Take me to the dark, narrow path. Oh, he don't understand it. Why is it so hard to find love? I was in the wrong, now I'm the pawn. Peace find me.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next John Legend. Okay, next John Legend.
But as years pass away, I'm just a man with broken dreams. Don't understand. I'm on my way to understand.
Oh man, that kid rocks, man. Yo, you want to know the background to this story, right? I'm in Washington Square Park yesterday, right? And like I am a lot, but I was stretching, right? I was hanging out with my friends, right? Musicians, right? And I'm stretching, I'm doing my fucking freaky yoga, right? And this is the kid he did the hip hop. He's across the park doing his 80s hip hop shit, right? Dancing and shit. And I recorded it. I put his video up the other day, right? So he's sitting there with the musicians, and I think, all right, I don't know why he's sitting there. Maybe he made a friend, right? And then he starts singing. I was like, oh my fucking God, you could sing. The guy could sing. Right? And so he's just reading off his phone. I said, wait, you don't play an instrument? And he doesn't play an instrument. So I grabbed the guitar, right? Guitar sitting there, right? And I said, all right, just follow this. And it was perfect. That was the only take. That was the first take. I didn't even know the song. I had no idea. I had never heard the song before. So we're playing. That was one take. You talk about chemistry. It should work, man. The kid's got a good voice. He's really, I mean, he's got the talent. Now will he prevail? Will he, push and overcome the obstacles? So Marcus Conte reporting. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. If kindly become a Patreon of this channel. I've been a little slow on the on my website. I'll update it today because I've been running around and trying to make the videos rather than do all the mechanical stuff of posting. So, but marcusconte.com. Nonetheless, the tip jar is here. This is how we support it. This is how I survive, right? On the PayPal by throwing a couple of dollars in the tip jar, or become a monthly Patreon of this channel. If you're new to YouTube, if you're new to the internet, that's how we do it. There's no corporate sponsors. Nobody handing us the big bucks. It's all viewer funded. It's just me running around trying not to get my ass kicked and trying to bring you the news. There's a delicate line between getting your ass kicked and getting the story, Patreon of this channel. If you're new, shut up, Conte. You know what I'm saying? So what's going on here? Let me check some shit. Everything's up. We're not buffering. Okay, we are live like a mofo. And I'm always cautious with this live shit, man. So that's that dude, right? So here's the other backstory. I wanted to just give a backstory. I was reading the comments. A lot of people. I got the story for you. Okay, we're here in Washington Square Park, right? This is my friend Tariq. So Tariq was there, right? You can listen to this interview on your own, but he was there when the naked Jesus, as the New York Post likes to call him, the naked Jesus was dragged out of the fountain at Washington Square Park. And you can see there, the park, the fountain is on again. There's people taking baths in there and showering and having a good old time. So he would have gotten evicted anyway by the sheer force of the water coming up his ass while he was laying on top of the fountain. So that's where he was living. But I wanted to give you the backstory, what happened to this guy, because it is kind of sad, right? And you see it Here's the video that I wasn't there that day, but Naked Jesus squatter pops up again in DC in Washington Square Park. So he's laying there. He's got his dick out, balls out, ass out. And they don't know what to do with him. Right? They don't know what to do with him. They released him. He came back. And you hear him screaming. They take him out on a stretcher. With his dick out. Can't make it up. So the real story here is this, is that he's in the park. He's a homeless guy, and he's a decent guy. If you listen to the interview with Tariq, he knows him. I kind of knew the guy. I've seen him in there a couple of times, but they shot him up. Right? Where's the fine line between being a little crazy and a little out there? Okay, you know, your dick is, you know, flapping in the wind and all that stuff, right? But there's things you can do. You could throw a towel over him. You can tell him to. You can write him a summons and force him to leave the park. There's a lot of things you can do. You can escort him out of the park. You can do that, right? But shooting him up with some shit is just really fucking foul. They don't say that in the article. And that's what I found out. His name is Mischievous. I don't know what his name is. Whatever. It doesn't matter. But the point is, at what point does a crazy person have the right to not be shot up with drugs and dragged out of a public park? That's pretty scary, right? Tariq said they hit him twice. They hit him once, and he had a little bit of resistance to whatever they shot him with, and then they hit him again. So he took 2 shots. So the other day, I guess this was yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. Everything is a blur. So I do a walkthrough. What's your name, mate?
Get the fuck out of here.
Get the fuck out of here, right? So I'm walking through Occupy Wall Street. If you saw this was tense, man. This guy was up my ass. I backed off. I'm walking, and look, I'm on the public sidewalk. I'm walking in the street. I'm walking on the bike path. With the suits and ties. You see where I am? I'm not on his property. I'm not in their space, and this guy had it out. The point of the matter is, I was able to diffuse it. If you saw it, I was able to water it down a little bit. But you see, the point right there is that there's a couple of observations. One is that the illusion that all of the protesters are sleeping in the park is not true. Look, this is 8 a.m. Catch them when there's nobody there. Whether there's 1,000 people rallying at night, screaming and yelling, smoking hookah, and listening to loud hip hop, whatever they're doing in there at night, it's that's separate, because this is the reality. Are people living in the park, or are they just using it as a kind of a staging platform? It's the latter. It's just a point. It's just an observational point. If all of those people were really living in the park, then the park would be full of people sleeping in the park, right? It wouldn't even hold all those people, right? So it tells you a couple of things, that this is a commuter kind of occupation. It's not. They're not. I mean, there's a couple of people, right? Maybe 50 people living in the park, and there's thousands of protesters. So scratch the illusion that. It's all exposed. There it is. I mean, that's the whole Occupy section, right? You could walk around it. It's one little piece of property, and the other observation is obvious, that it's getting violent, right? These motherfuckers are trying to say peace and love, and everybody should work together, and then you pull out a camera, and the guy wants to kill you. The guy wants to chase you down and beat you up. That's different. That's not a peaceful movement, right? Who's the aggressor? A guy with a camera walking on the bike path, filming himself, talking to himself, or some fucking psychopath who doesn't like you, right? And he turned out, I was able to diffuse it. Now we're friends and all that. But the point still remains, is that without me diffusing it, without me, walking it back, we're approaching a state of violence. And that's not cool. That's not cool. Right? That's how you lose your message, Antifa. That's how you lose it. You can't. First of all, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous to say that you can to demand privacy in a public park. You can't do that, right? You're in the fucking public. Right? If you want privacy, you build yourself a barn out in the middle of your 100 acres. You put a fence around it, no posted, and then you can do that. But you can't stop people from filming in the street. Right? It's a little backwards. So that's all. That's the background on that story. There's no real reason to follow it. I mean, you can go there at night and listen to the bullshit and the hip hop and the fucking loud, shit. And what good is coming out of it? I don't know. It's more like a kind of a thing where you're just honing the message, honing the cult. Right. I've seen a lot of empty faces too. That's another thing. Starting to. A lot of the participants appear to be very, very gaslit. When you talk to them, the authorities, the big boys, start to get upset that you're talking to their people, that you're taking them off message. Right? They just want to stand in front of you and scream Black Lives Matter and you're a liar and fuck you. But then you just ask them simple political questions or what exactly they're fighting for, and they don't know. They have no idea. These guys are older, a little seasoned. They had the answers. These characters right here. Especially this guy. He was very good. I think his name is Chris. And we got the Joker. Where's the Joker? Joker was cool. Where's the fucking Joker, man? Where's the Joker? That guy was awesome. His eye makeup. There he is. Let's see. Come on, Joker. Where's the cops? I don't know where the piece is, but he's on there. He's on there. So that's the background on that one. Just to give you a little history. So let's talk about the story yesterday, and then we'll talk about Trump, Hillary Clinton. It's nothing new. I know it's a fancy thumbnail, and it's not a big deal. But Hillary Clinton is on TV right now, flapping her lips and her gums, that the election is probably going to be rigged. And that Trump will not leave peacefully. Right? The audacity of Hillary Clinton to suggest that there is election fraud and it's not her doing it is beyond the pale. Right? That's who Hillary Clinton is. They're frauds. They're fraudulent fucks. Right? And they rigged the primary against Bernie Sanders in 2016. Evidence all over the place. She went on to lie to Congress 6 times. She literally smoked the evidence on her servers, with the bleach bit, whatever fuck it is, right? Scrubbing the servers. Total criminal, Hillary Clinton. And the audacity for her to say that Trump and the Republicans are going to rig an election is just staggering. So we'll listen to that. And so just to bring up to date, I was right. I said Ghislaine Maxwell would be remanded back to jail, no bail. No bail, back to jail for Ghislaine Maxwell. They called a tentative trial for next July. Oh, man. She cried. They said she cried on the video. She cried that she will be in jail for another year at a bare minimum. And they refused her bail based on flight risk. So there was other facts that we learned. Yesterday I had said that she has 3 passports, U.S., British, and I speculated Israel. I was wrong. She has France, which is actually more of a flight risk because France doesn't have an extradition treaty with the U.S., meaning that if Ghislaine Maxwell takes out 20 million or however many millions she has, flees the United States justice system, she could seek asylum as a political refugee in France, no problem. And France would, because she faces persecution in another country. Right? So political persecution, she could argue. So would she end up like Julian Assange, stashed away somewhere? It could happen, but she's still a flight risk, and therefore they're not letting her up. I think that's all I had to say. Yeah, so she wept. She was on video camera. I think this report came out like about 5 p.m. There's no reason to stand around all day in front of the court. She wasn't in there. If you were in the court, this is what you saw. You can't film it, so there was obviously apparently a video camera with 4 different angles, maybe the lawyers, one shot on the judge, maybe her attorney. I think this is probably her attorney and Maxwell herself sitting in a closet, right? So she's facing 35 years, still in Brooklyn lockup, and that's that, man. So in other news, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, right, is hospitalized again with fever and chills. This is about the 10th time. She's in her deep 80s. She's deeply into her 80s. And, this is the balance of the court. If she drops, she has said that she would stay on the bench as long as she's mentally fit. And all indicators indicate that she is extremely mentally fit, but she's physically breaking down. She has pancreatic cancer or whatever, and now she's prone to infection, so she's back in the hospital. She's back over here in Mount Sinai Hospital. Justice Ginsburg was admitted to the hospital again Tuesday after experiencing fever and chills. Balance of the Supreme Court in the balance, right? Trump will definitely pick another conservative like Gorsuch and Kavanaugh. But it seems that Justice Roberts is now leaning more left. And you saw that with the gay rights decision and a few other decisions as well. So the Chief Justice Roberts is now leaning left. But the balance of 9 is becoming still 4-4. 4 liberal, 4 conservative, including Ginsburg, who's a liberal, and Roberts, Judge Roberts seems to be the swing vote. So if Ginsburg drops or dies or whatever, or just steps back, you now have Trump is going to usher in. They'll hold him off until after November, of course, if it happens quickly. They're not going to appoint. But once Trump is back in, the Republicans are going to lobby to get another conservative judge, and the balance of the Supreme Court will lean right, heavily right. So it'll be a 5-3 majority where Roberts can't overturn a conservative court. Something to think about. So anyway, we'll follow that. Watch to see. She's getting old. How old is she? 80, 87. Wow, fucking 87. 87, still working hard, man. Mind is there, but the body is failing. And, Jeff Sessions. You remember Sessions? Trust Sessions. Remember Q? Q. I love you, Q. Remember when Q said trust Sessions? And Trump fired his ass. Trump fired his stupid ass as the attorney general. So Jeff Sessions is trying to make his political comeback. Remember when Trump appointed him AG, and Sessions agreed. Jeff Sessions was a sitting senator of Alabama. He was the sitting senator, and he gave up his position, his job as senator. Elected senator to serve Donald Trump as AG. And then Trump fired him. And Jeff Sessions is trying to make a comeback into politics, leave the Trump disgraced him, fired him for not delivering justice. And William Barr was his replacement, of course. And so Jeff Sessions tried to make a comeback in Alabama. He ran. Jeff Sessions was handily defeated by former Auburn University football coach Tommy Tuberville in Tuesday night's Alabama Senate primary. With nearly 70% of the results in, Tuberville led the former attorney general by a staggering 24 percentage points. Wow, blowout. Sessions has been seeking to regain the U.S. Senate seat He held before resigning in 2017 to become President Trump's attorney general. The 73-year-old tenor under Trump. It says something else that Trump backed Tuberville. Trump backed his opponent, and so there you have it. Trump wins again. Right? Trump didn't even get out of his chair for that one. He fucking crushes, big phony. Right? And one last story before we talk about. Oh no, it's a couple of other things. Hey, listen, man, we're having a good time, right? Where else would you get these little stories, right? You get the full picture, right? So now you can go on about your day when you see the big picture, and you say like, oh, Conte already talked about that in the morning, but do I want to know more about that story? And you could dive in deeper. That's what we're doing here. We're just skimming the surface of the stories so that you have them, that you have this knowledge. It's that I have this knowledge. That's how you're helping me study. This is my study in the morning. We study what's going on so that when we throw ourselves into the world, we know what the fuck we're talking about, right? That's what you want to do. You want to be an educated dick, right? You want to be an educated pain in the ass when you confront people, right? Or when you have, peaceful conversations with people so that you know what the hell you're talking about, right? And then you can listen to them. If they don't know what they're talking about, you let them hang themselves. You give them the rope. That's how you work the street. You give people the rope, and they will hang themselves. You don't have to hang anybody in the street, man. So COVID-19. This is to the vaccine people. COVID-19 vaccine trial produces antibodies in everyone tested. So here's the Bloomberg News reporting an initial safety trial of a potential coronavirus vaccine produced antibodies in the deadly disease in everyone who was tested, according to a report Tuesday. The neutralizing antibodies produced by Moderna Inc. So the markets will be up today, and Moderna Inc. will skyrocket, will jet up in value. Vaccines were equivalent to the upper half of what's seen in patients who get infected and recover. So Moderna is professing that they have a vaccine that produces the antibody in upwards of half of all guinea pig/humans that they have tested thus far. Meanwhile, the side effect of the vaccine weren't bad enough to halt the testing process. Whoa! So there is side effects. To what degree? Your hair falls out, your balls drop, your vagina dries up, you can't speak, you can't eat, you're throwing up, you're shitting yourself. What other symptoms? What are the symptoms to a vaccine gone bad? Autism? Do your children get autism? Maybe. Meanwhile, the side effects. Oh, I read that already. Bloomberg said, citing results, don't take these things, man. Just listen, man. This is insanity, right? This is goddamn insanity. Fear run amok. So why would you take a medication that upwards of half the people, once you get the flu, you have the antibody. God damn it. You already have the body. You have the body, the antibody. Oh, that's a good song. You have the body. I'll get that kid in the park. You have the body, the antibody. I can't sing anymore, man. I can only have fun with a microphone. If I can have fun, then that'll be my new voice. That'll be my new singing voice, right here. If you have the body, the antibody, something like that. So anyway, I'm walking in the woods right now, in the deep grass. So there's a vaccine coming, and it's going to go right up your ass. Squirrels, this pisses me off, right? Because I love squirrels, and it's not going to stop me. I just went outside and tried to find a few with some nuts and feed the birds all the time. And this morning I gave them some cookies and crackers for the birds, and cookies and crackers. cookies and crackers for the birds. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. And now there is a scare. Squirrels test positive for bubonic plague. Squirrels test positive for bubonic plague in Colorado. One, singular. One squirrel tests positive for. Okay, so where is the fucking evidence? Where is the evidence of widespread squirrel bubonic plague? It's just fucked up, man. I hate that shit because now people will be scared of the squirrels. They'll be scared of the birds. Be afraid. Stay 6 feet away from the animals. Don't let your dog near the squirrel because the squirrel will bite the dog and give you the bubonic plague. This is crazy, man. It's crazy times we're living in. A squirrel has tested positive for bubonic plague. According to health officials, the squirrel is the first case of plague in the town of Morrison, Jefferson County, which is about 17 miles southwest of Denver. Plague is an infectious disease caused by bacteria, Yersinia pestis. It's the bacteria Yersinia pestis. That's it right there. See it? Yersinia pestis. That's how you pronounce that, right? Yersinia pestis. That's the bacteria Yersinia pestis, can be contracted by humans and household animals, public health officials wrote. However, if proper precautions are taken, the risk of getting plague is extremely low. Why don't you make that the first sentence, you cockies? Humans can get infected, though, through bites from infected fleas or animals. The chances of getting bit by a wild animal are pretty slim. Animals don't want to bite you unless you corner them or try to pick them up or touch them or fuck with them, or they're just, they're out of their minds. But fleas, that's another problem. I mean, fleas, you can walk through the high grass. You can walk out in the grass and get fleas on your socks and bring them home for your cats. Right? Fleas are motherfuckers, especially when they're popping. You're just walking around and fleas will cling to you. And it's not. I guess they're biting you. They like to bite your ankles. Right? So cats are highly susceptible. So this is a bullshit article, right? Fuck you, man. Fuck you. Leave the animals alone. So here's the headline shit, right? So listen to this. So Hillary Clinton on the Daily Show. That is the thumbnail is not real. That's not obviously fucking the guy's head. It would be funny though. Trevor Noah. I don't have the thumbnail. Oh, yeah, I do have the thumbnail. I made the thumbnail. Let's look at the thumbnail again. Because someone said in the chat that it looked like... I can't open it right now. Sorry, man. Sorry. I can't open it, man, because I'm a fucking rank amateur, and all my shit is in some other folder at the time, right? But anyway, let's listen to the story. So Hillary Clinton on the Daily Show. Americans should be ready if Trump won't go quietly after election. So what Hillary Clinton is doing, the CIA, scumbag Hillary Clinton, the liar, the protected one, the FBI protected one, the con artist, the scammer known as Hillary Clinton, is signaling. This is a signal to the Democratic Party that we are going to cheat. This is the putting the fix in. Right, we're behind you. I'm Hillary Clinton, and we're behind you, right? Americans should be ready if Trump won't go quietly, right? So the idea is if we cheat, we got to get him out of that office and get our guy in there. We got to push Trump out and get Biden in. Therefore, even if there was once the president is sworn in, it's no going back, right? So is that what it means? So let's what is this? What is this? What is this? Come on, play. Oh, here it is. No. Let me see. Let me try to refresh. Hillary. Oh, there was a video. Once upon a time. Come on, Fox. Give me the video. So that's what Trevor's head really looks like.
I have the power
And now
to lower my
fucking
blood sugar
commercial.
and
We'll let the commercial play. It was interesting. I watched it, and you're kidding me, man. 51 seconds? We have to wait 51 seconds. 51 seconds before we can watch the video of Hillary Clinton. That is crazy, man. We're living in... Oh, here it is. Let's watch.
For that or not, raise as.
So in an explosive interview on The Daily Show with Trevor Noah, Hillary Clinton said,
I think it is a fair point to raise as to whether or not, if he loses, he's going to go quietly or not. And we have to be ready for that.
boom. So Trump, they're flashing points, they're flashing stuff. That Trump has already questioned the legitimacy of mail-in ballots, which are likely to increase due to COVID-19. All right, so that's a good thing to do, to question the validity of the ballots. Yes, we have rigged elections in this country. It's proven. Now, if Donald Trump was a real man, he would say that it's not election fraud. They use that term because when you look up election fraud means that people who are not registered to vote are voting. Illegals are voting. Right? Now, that does not swing the goddamn election. That is not the thing that swings the election. It's not the thing that swings the election fraud. That's not what is happening. That is the gaslighting talking point for you who doesn't know what you're talking about. It's election fraud. Election fraud. When it's voter fraud, I think I got it backwards. Voter fraud is when voters commit the fraud. Election fraud is when the electorate, the government rigs the election. That's what we're seeing. That's why exit polls don't match. That's why, that's why Bernie Sanders gets cheated. He wins enormously in places where you could see, like in caucuses, where you could see the actual people voting. And then once it goes to a machine vote, he loses. He lost. This is rigging. This is over-rigging. Right? So is Trump now in a paper ballot? Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, paper ballot. We want paper ballots. Yeah, but who counts the ballot? It's useless unless you count it in public where everybody can see it. So in a series of tweets, in fact, found. So here's Trump's tweet. There is no way, zero, that mail-in ballots will be anything less than substantially fraudulent. Wow, that's fighting words from the President of the United States. Mail ballots will be robbed. Ballots will be forged and even illegally printed out and fraudulently signed. The governor of California is sending ballots to millions of people. Anyone, let's see if we get the other side of it. I think there's more. Anyone living in the state, no matter who they are or how they got there, will get one. That will be followed up with some professionals telling all of these people, many of whom have never even thought of voting before, how and for whom to vote. This will be a rigged election. That's not fucking rigging, you idiot. You idiot. See, Trump is gaslighting you too, unfortunately. That's not how it's rigged. To send someone who is that's called voter registration. That's called get out the vote, Trump. When people send ballots or coach people to vote, that's not election fraud. That's called electioneering. There's a big difference, right? Fraud is when you tamper with the machines. Is when you say or you purge 200,000 voters off the rolls. For example, here in New York, in Brooklyn, they purged 200,000 people who were potential Bernie Sanders voters against Hillary Clinton, And suddenly those people would go to the ballot and they'd say, "Oh, we don't know you. You didn't. Who are you?" And they couldn't vote because they didn't, because they registered and they did everything they were supposed to do, and then their name got purged off the rolls, and happens over and over again. Continues to happen. And you have our politicians like Hillary Clinton say voter fraud. Again, voter fraud. Whenever you hear voter fraud, that is the dog and pony show. Blame the voters. Don't blame the establishment. So when the Democrats cheat, don't point to people who the Democrats got on the ground and rallied to get them to vote, because that's legitimate. That's called getting out the vote. But you have to, you have to go after, if they create fake ballots. Are the Democrats capable of doing that? Of course. Will they do that? No, because they don't have to. If they control the ballots, if they control the count in that state, what difference does it make? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Challenge the hand count and start hand counting ballots? They'll burn them before you even get a chance to see them. That's what they did, for example, in Florida with Tim Canova. Tim Canova ran against Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and he only got 5% of the vote when he was polling in 30s and 40% of the vote. Hours before the election, and he tried to get the ballots. He tried to secure the ballots from the Democratic Party, and they destroyed the ballots before he even got out of court. So the Democrats will cheat, and that's how they'll do it. It's not. It's election fraud. That's what it is. Right? So Trump is partially right. Trump should, I think he should just shut his hole. Voter fraud. What else is that? It's all called election rigging, yeah. But again, I want to say it again to the people that got gaslit during the 2016 election, to think that Mexicans were driving in Mexicans over the fence and getting them to run in and vote, and then putting them back on the bus and shuffling them out is inaccurate. Now, the other argument is that there's many illegal immigrants in the country that walk into the voting booth and vote. That's not enough to swing the election. That's why we have the Electoral College. Yeah, they'll do it in California, they'll do it in New York, but they can't do it in the heartland. They can't. It doesn't work. But the rigging of the boxes, if the Democrats could. If they have a stranglehold, for example, in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, and they rig those machines and they rig the outcome, the count in favor of the Democrats, Trump will lose. That will be the battleground in November. I haven't even started talking about the election yet because it's rigged, and it's Trump versus Biden. Trump's likely to landslide it. But the war, if anywhere, is going to be in the Rust Belt. It's going to be in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Ohio. Did I say Pennsylvania? That's where it's going to be. Right? That's the rural New York, but rural New York doesn't count because New York City has the heavy hand in it. New York City, the cheating is epic. Epic cheating in New York City. So Marcus Conte reporting. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. Thank you, everybody, in the chat. Good morning, everybody. What's up, man? So, you know what I'm saying? Who's here? Let's see. Read them out. 2 days take. Thank you, guys, for joining me. Angelica Creek and B in the house. Hold on a second. I gotta get my music. I need the music. Bill West. What's up, Bill West, my brother? And B Bop Cameo Masso's here. Chris Mike, thank you. Chris Milk, thank you. Milk with an L. Dan Worth, George's son. George, tell us who your son is. Who's your father? Harkview Cinema, Mondays at Harkview Cinema. It's cinema night at Harkview. Jason Walsh, John Balco, and TFD and Vinny DiMartini on the wrench. Thank you, Vinny DiMartini, for monitoring the dickery. And TFD is also here. Thank you guys for joining me. You guys for joining me. I don't know what's going to happen in the world today, man. That's the exciting part of doing what I do, right? It's just, you never know what's going to happen. You never fucking know, man. You just go out the door, and you know what I mean? And you see, right? People always ask me, where are you going today, Conte? It's like 90% of the times I have no fucking idea. I don't know. And sometimes I don't go anywhere. Sometimes I go to the park and I stretch. And I sit by myself and I ignore everybody. And I just soak it up, man. And then one day when you're doing that, you find the singer. You find the singer sitting on the bench, right? And that's the story, man. Fucking the kid singing on the bench. I'm gonna go back and find that kid, man, because he's just too fucking awesome, man. So thanks for